Hey everyone, we are going to look at the IXL assignment CC15 on creating scatter plots. Okay, an important thing to remember with a scatter plot is that it's a graph with points that are plotted to show the relationship between two sets of data. Okay, um, so the X and the Y axis will both be labeled, a different unit, and you're comparing those together. Now with scatter plots, you're not going to have a straight line like we did when we talked about slope. However, you are going to hear in later assignments and later lessons about what's called a trend line, which is going to be the line that is closest to all of those points. And that'll come at a later point. Today, we're just going to look at creating those scatter plots and how to create them. Okay, with scatter plots, let's look at an example of this, and it'll make things a lot more easier to understand. Okay, so we see that we have this graph, okay, and we see that the x-axis is labeled as bananas and the y-axis is labeled as peaches. Okay, with this question, it says this table shows the number of bananas and the number of peaches at Westboro Supermarket each day last week. We need to make a scatter plot to show that data. Now, in this case, we're comparing two different sets of data. We're comparing the data that from how many bananas there were, and we're comparing the data from how many peaches there were at this supermarket. Now, it's important to take note at what the axis is labeled as. Okay, so we already know that the x-axis is labeled as our bananas and the y is labeled as our peaches. Now, to go back to what we had talked about before, we also know that an ordered pair is written as x and then y. Where you go with the X, you're going to go right or left, and then with the Y, you're going to go up or down. In this case, we're just going to be going to the right and just going up. Okay, we're going to look at each set of data as a set of ordered pairs. So for instance, this first set, we've got 30 bananas and 50 peaches. So we're actually just going to take this and we're going to write it as an ordered pair. We're going to have 30 and then 50. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to place a point right at that spot. So we're going to go over to 30 on the X, which is right here, and then we're going to go up to 50 and we're going to place a point right at this spot. Okay, and then you're going to do it again for all of the ordered pairs. So the next one we would have 25, 30. Okay, 25, 30, and I will write this over here. 25 and then 30. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go over to 25. Now, in this case, there is no label. The x-axis is going to increase by 10. So we're just going to go between 20 and 30. And that's going to tell us that we're at about 25. And then we're going to go up to 30 and we're going to place a point right here. We can see that it's kind of in the middle of 20 and 30. So it's about 25. Okay. The next point we have is 50, 40. Right here, 50, 40. So we're going to do the same thing. As an ordered pair, we would write this as 50 and then 40. So we're going to go over on our x-axis to 50, and then we're going to go up on the y to 40. So as we can see, looking at this data, when we're looking at 50, we're saying we have 50 bananas and we have 40 peaches. Okay, so we're writing this as an ordered pair, we're plotting these points, but it's actually comparing those two sets of data just by labeling those axes the way that we have them. I'm going to make some room down here so I can write the rest of these ordered pairs. So we've done 50, 40. Now we're going to do 75 and then 45. So we're going to go, in this case, between 70 and 80. So right about here. And then we are going to go up to 45 on the y-axis. Place our point right about there. And then our next ordered pair is 25, 15. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go about to right between 20 and 30 on the X. And then we're going to go up to 15 from there. Place our point here. And then we've got 85, 50. So we're going to go right about between 80 and 90. And then go up to 50, which is right about here. And then we've got 25 and 40. So we're going to go again right between 20 and 30, and then we're going to go up to 40. Now, as you can see, we just have a lot of points all over this graph. Okay, there's really no, it does appear that it might be increasing, but there's really, it doesn't look to be like there's any association between the amount of bananas that we have and the amount of peaches that we have. But we can see that, you know, the clear comparison of this. Okay, let's look at another example of this. And it's important to remember that you have this, graph, and then you have this table, and you're just plotting these points. You're not connecting the points. You're just placing them in the correct spot to show that relationship. Okay, so this question says that Luna went on 6 bird watching walks last month. Okay, this table shows the relationship between the temperature and the number of birds Luna saw. So in this case, we're comparing the two sets of data, one being the temperature of while she was on those walks, and then the other one being the number of birds that Luna saw. And we want to see, is there a relationship between this data? So we're going to look at this. Each one of these is ordered pairs from the table. Pay close attention to what your axis is labeled as, because we've got our temperature here. So we would say that temperature is X, and then birds is the vertical axis, which is the Y. And then we would go through and write these as ordered pairs. So we'd have 20 and then 13. And then we would place our point. We'd go over to 20, and then we'd go up to 13, which is right about here. Now this is going to be between the 12 and the 14, okay? And then our next point is 13 and then 6. We're going to go over to 13, so between 12 and 14, and then we're going to go up to 6. And then we have 16 and 12. So we're going over to 16 and up to 12. Clear these ordered pairs out to make some room for us. So we did 16 and then 12. Now we're going to do 18 and 9. So this set right here. So we're going to go over to 18. And then we'll go up to 9, right about between the 8 and the 10. And then we'll go to 19 and 10. Go right about between the 18 and the 20. And then we'll go up to 10, right about here. And then our last point right here is 11 and 15. So we're going to go over to about 11 and then up to about 15. So as we can see with this data, the points are a little bit closer. And also another thing to notate is that as the temperature down here is increasing, the number of birds that we're seeing is increasing. So as X is increasing, Y is increasing. This will be something that you'll see probably later on in the next assignment with identifying those trends. So it's important to kind of know what to expect as far as those trends go to kind of prepare and also to kind of, analyze the data that we're looking at. Okay. So with scatter plots, again, don't worry about connecting those points. Look at each one of these numbers, each one of these sets of numbers as a different ordered pair that's going to tell you exactly where that point is going to go. Okay.